From Panic to Empowerment: How to Stop Pain and Disease from Taking Over Your Life by Connecting Spirit, Mind, and Body, by Dr. Stephanie E. Reed. Chapter 6, Mind, Rewrite Your Story. The second R in the 3 R's approach to healing has everything to do with what you're thinking. If you remember in the previous chapter, you discovered that your spirit is the boss. Identifying what is in the spirit will determine how you can quickly see how your thoughts are driving your behavior based on your spiritual cues. If your spirit is low, most likely your thoughts will follow pessimism, mistrust, frustration, a sense of, it is what it is, I'll just deal with it the best I can. You know, the lies we tell ourselves. Conversely, if your spirit is light, you will see life situations as a vehicle for self-discovery, learning, and growing. You will be supported in this flow because you will find that positive experiences will come to you easily. Your positive vibes will create positive experiences. Now, vibrations are what create our experiences, thought, word, and deed. Your thoughts and words have creative power, a vibration. Negative thoughts and words create negative energy, vibrations. The vibration you are putting out is the energy that will be the creative force for what you receive. Let's look at vibration. I like to say vibes. This is a concept you are intrinsically in tune with, but you don't realize it. Your vibe will attract what it's familiar with. If you have a negative vibe, you will attract negative things and negative people into your life. And that is universal law. You are familiar with the universal law of gravity, right? If you drop something, it will fall to the ground. Universal laws cannot be changed, so take heed. When you constantly rehearse illness and sickness and lack, you will get exactly that. If you surround yourself with people who have the same vibe or worse, it will be hard for you to rise. If you feel like everything around you is stagnant and dark, check your thoughts. What are you thinking? What are you thinking about is what you will create. According to what I have seen, those who plow iniquity and those who sow trouble harvest. Job 4:8. When you acknowledge your thoughts and keep paying attention to them, you may discover a thought theme. A thought theme is what you call your worldview. The colored glass you look through to see the world around you, your perspective. The idea of looking at the world through rose-colored glasses has been given a bad reputation. But what's wrong with that if you can create momentum in your thinking that creates vibrations of joy and happiness? Roses. I'm not advocating for you to be oblivious to the world around you. It's easy to get stuck in the mud of gossip, world news, and celebrity drama. But I'm challenging you to create the life you truly desire. Create your own reality, like on purpose. The truth is, you are creating your reality with your thoughts all the time anyway. You may as well get used to being in control of what you create. Again, if your thoughts are negative, your world will be as well. But if you do allow yourself to see through rose-colored glasses, you could create a magnificent life for yourself. People who know you will be either happy with your transformation or will find fault with it. People who used to feed off your negative vibe will become people of your past that have no place in your future. Blessing them as they leave your life will open doors for more positive experience, happier people, and things to come to you in the form of blessings. Ever come in contact with someone who has a positive outlook on everything, even when they're in a crisis? You may have thought to yourself, this person is delusional. Maybe you're delusional. But if you find yourself drawn to such a person because of their outlook, it is because they are vibrating your language. Like vibrations attract. That being the case, you can rest assured that if you are comfortable with that person, your spirit is too. If your spirit is comfortable, maybe the person you feel is delusional is one who has tapped into their spirit for guidance. Your spirit is saying, let's keep this party going. If you are not comfortable following your feelings, your spirit, Instead of allowing the connection to get stronger, you get agitated. You may feel uncomfortable because your old belief system is strong. Unless you make a sincere effort to grow beyond your conditioning, you will easily slide back into your old way of thinking. But you can dropkick those old beliefs for good if you simply make the commitment to transform your life. Envision your future self, happy, healthy, and whole, panic and disease-free. Now embrace that vision. Make it your life's goal to be the best you can be. If you don't practice new thoughts, old thoughts and beliefs will return and dig deep for the long haul. That, my friend, will put you back at first base. Stop! Don't let that happen. I know your old way of thinking has caused some of your heartache, disappointment, and fears. And yes, this may feel like a yucky place to be, but you've been here for so long, you may be stuck. For now, you may be in a holding pattern. But are you really stuck? There are at least two ways to look at this situation. First, you're only stuck if you believe you are. And second, you can embrace a new way of thinking as soon as you desire to. Having the right tools will create that opportunity for you. The tool that will smash up old beliefs is the second R in the 3 R's approach to healing. It's called reframe. Say it with me. Reframe. When we tie in the concept of reframing, it is usually in the context of us changing our perception of a negative feeling or experience based on our worldview. Perspective. Your perspective, how you see things, can be clouded by your past beliefs. If those beliefs have served to hold you down, make you feel bad, or cloud your judgment, let them go. Now, how do you let go of old beliefs? I would say, like Nike, just do it, but that sounds so cliche. You'd probably scoff at me anyway and throw the book down in frustration. I wouldn't dare get you to this point, the good part, just to throw you such a nasty curveball. This book is here to help you catch the wave of enlightenment so you can be empowered, not shoot you down like a bird that just learned how to fly. Yet, the fact of the matter is, simplicity does win here. Even if you can't just do it, drop it, you can make a conscious decision to let go. Then you can work on letting go. Letting go of an old belief system is not the easiest thing to do, but there are direct steps you can take to get the process going. I will list them here so you can use them as points of reflection in your journal. Reflection points to ponder. Identify your belief system by looking at how you react in certain situations. Ask yourself, where did that belief come from? Did someone verbally communicate that belief to you, or did you establish it on your own through observations? Does this belief system work for you as an adult? Does it line up with your highest expression of yourself? Can you let it go if it doesn't serve you? If you can't drop it, are you committed enough to seek help to work through it? We all have baggage. To understand how belief systems create sticking points in your consciousness that pull you in directions you would benefit moving away from, let's get right into reframing. What is it? How can it move you from panic to empowerment? Reframing is a concept that establishes the idea that there are many ways to interpret your experiences. It is the interpretation of your experiences that locks in your spiritual, mental, and physical pattern that causes disease and pain or bliss. Ever wonder how 5 people can watch the same event and give 5 different explanations about what happened? Each person interprets the event based on their theme, their perspectives born out of their belief system. Because we all have different perspectives, it can be difficult to communicate our needs and get them met. Many states of disease and pain are born out of your inability to see things differently. Over time, you accumulate emotional baggage. It's that baggage that really makes it hard to see anything but your own point of view. Not being able to see other possibilities can mess up your mind and your body. According to Chinese medicine, emotions get trapped in organs. The negative energy of the emotion causes organs to dysfunction. Anxiety can cause a stomach ailment. Rejection impacts the lungs, and feelings of abandonment can cause the heart to get sick. By now, you can begin to see that you create your own reality based on your belief systems. These beliefs are usually set by the age of 7. Embracing this insight can help you make a mental shift in the direction of healing. So here's some new knowledge. From birth to 7, you live in a world that is all about self-expression. You have no knowledge of what is happening outside of you and are completely in tune with what makes you feel good. You jump, play, dream, and create fantasy friends. Your sense of who others are is completely tied to what they are doing for you to maintain the fantasy. When an event happens that shakes the momentum of your bliss, you feel shaken, disconnected from your childlike reality, and you don't like it. You see the intrusion as a direct assault on your happiness. As a child, you are not yet developed enough mentally to see something outside of yourself. So when the experience happens, you see it as a direct hit. There is no consideration for the other players. Thus, you create your own story about what you feel, see, or hear. Since you have created your story, you can change it. You were powerful enough to create your circumstances. You also have the power to change. Create something new. If you created a story that has pulled you down, taken away your self-esteem, or knocked your socks off, create again. Let's look at this story. See how the story has created a disaster in this person's life. As the story unfolds, let's see how the character rewrote the story or reframed it for a comeback. The story. There was once a boy who lived on a farm with his family. The boy had a little sister who he was very close to. He and his sister were always together. The father was a man of few words, and the mother was very loving and caring. One day, when the boy was about 6 years old, he noticed that his father went from saying only a few words to not speaking at all. His mother didn't seem to mind her husband's silence because she was consumed with the daily chores and taking care of the children. Yet, after some time, the boy began to notice that his mother spent less time with him and his sister and more time in a room in the back of the house sewing. The less the father spoke, the more the mom spent sewing. The boy began to feel abandoned, rejected, and disconnected from his family. He even stopped communicating and enjoying games with his sister. Fast forward 30 years, the boy, now man, is now in therapy with his wife trying to save his marriage. His wife explains to the therapist, "He doesn't talk to me or engage with the kids." His response, "My mom and dad stayed married 39 years. Mom stayed in her space. Dad didn't have to talk. Mom took care of everything. Dad brought home the money for us to live comfortably. I take care of you and my family. What is wrong with you?" A few years had gone by. The man and his wife were barely communicating, and the kids just seemed to be doing their own thing. The man went to visit his parents, and he asked his mom a question he held in his heart for 30 years. "Mom, why did you and Dad stop loving each other and taking care of us? Why did you tolerate Dad not talking to you and retreat to that damn back room to sew? Why did you accept that from him? Because of it, I have no idea how to communicate with my wife and kids, and all she does is cry and complain, and you never complained about Dad." That man continued to tell his mom his problems and held back the part about his heart problem and a new diagnosis of colon cancer. In his mind, he felt there was no need to upset her by telling her that kind of news, yet he felt alone by not being able to share his truth. The mother looks at her son wide-eyed. "Where did you get that idea that your father and I didn't love you and that I retreated into a back room to hide from his behavior?" "Well, that's what I saw," replied the son. "So I assumed that must have been what was going on." "Son, how could you interpret what you saw at age 7 to come up with that story?" Sit down. Let me explain something to you. First of all, your father and I love you and your sister with every fiber of our being. When I met your father, he was a man of few words. When he was a child, he was diagnosed with a disease that would eventually deteriorate his vocal cords. He promised that if we married, he would never let the possibility of him not speaking be a hindrance to our family. I agreed to marry your father because I loved him so much. In the beginning, we had no problems. We were very happy becoming parents, and we spent a lot of time sharing our love with you and your sister. We taught you the big picture of what family is and does. Do you remember family dinners, games, family chores that kept us laughing all day but sore? We had fun, didn't we? Yeah, replied the man. We did have fun. Oh, yeah, I remember, Mom. I actually forgot those times. Son, I'm glad I was able to create a space in your memory for you to see that and feel the joy of it. Yes, Mom, I actually do feel joy. Thank you for sharing that. You're welcome, son. Now let me straighten this out for you so you can get your life story right. When you were just about to turn 7, your dad's vocal cords began to deteriorate, and he wanted to save his voice to be able to speak to us when it was most important for him to speak. That's why on your birthday or holidays, he would sit you on his lap and talk to you about all kinds of stuff, like how the crops grew, the magic of the moon, how to find good hiding places when you were playing hide and seek with your sister. Oh my God, Mom, I completely forgot about that, replied the man. It's okay, son. By the time you were just about to turn 8, I had spent about 3 weeks sewing scarves to keep your dad's throat covered from the cold. And since Dad could only work a few days a week, I started sewing scarves and selling them in the stores. My scarves became the fashion statement of the day. I made you one for your 8th birthday, but I found it buried in the mud by the fields. I just assumed you loved it so much you wanted to wear it, but probably didn't realize you had lost it. I found the scarf and washed it for you. I still have it. I saved it to give it back to you all these years, but I keep forgetting to do so. Now go upstairs to your dad's top drawer to the left underneath the white handkerchiefs and get it. The man followed his mom's instructions to retrieve the scarf. As he entered the room, his dad gestured to him to come in for a hug. For the first time in years, the man felt like he wasn't giving his father a hug, but it was he who was receiving his father's love through the hug. The man felt a combination of relief, guilt, and shame. He gently opened the drawer to find the scarf his mom had made for his 8th birthday. When he held it close to his chest, he cried. The man knew the truth. The scarf was thrown in the mud out of anger and resentment. His mother had so much love in her heart, she assumed he lost it and didn't want to tell her he was wearing it to play when it was such a fancy scarf. The father just looked up and smiled as if he knew his son was being transformed. The man grabbed the scarf, ran downstairs, kissed his mom goodbye, and ran out of the door. He had to go home to hug his wife and kids. His story had been rewritten. The lesson. This is a fictitious story written to share a few concepts that have already been brought to the surface. We all have our own perspective based on perception. We create a story about what we experience, yet the story may not be true. Between the ages of birth and 7, you can only see your own perspective of what is happening in the world as it relates to your feelings of self-centeredness. Developmentally, you are not able to see another's view. Everyone creates their own story based on what meaning is joined to the experience. That meaning will determine what the story will look like. The man in the story created his own meaning from the perspective of a 7-year-old's developmental stage. At age 37, that model surely does not fit based on the fact that he is now in marriage counseling. After reading the story, see if you can remember times when you created a story about some event and how the story played out in your life, causing you harm. Now, see if you can reframe that story to see another perspective besides the one you have been rehearsing. By doing so, you may begin to feel relief, calmer, and a sense of peace. You may even shed a tear. That is completely okay. We cry a lot doing this work. No worries. You can invest in a box of Kleenex for $1 at your local Dollar General. Back to the point. The point is, you have just discovered your power to reframe any situation that does not serve you. You have unlocked the holy grail to your ability to move from panic to empowerment using the reframing technique. See how easy it can be once you understand how it works? The story was given as an example of how old beliefs can create a disaster in your life. Here is a nugget of wisdom. If what you believe about something makes you feel bad, stop engaging in that belief system. Stop the thought and let it go. If it hurts, let it go. Letting it go is not easy. I get it. But here is a real life example of how letting something go can really have a profound impact on you. Now check this out. I have a client named Betty. Betty has been coming to me for coaching and natural medicine recommendations for about 4 years. I had great success in helping her in all kinds of health issues, from thyroid to gastrointestinal problems, which are related. The one area in Betty's life that remained a challenge was her menstrual cycles. They were always unpredictable and bothersome. Her apparent success in other areas was remarkable. Yet this one area really began to bother me. My reputation was on the line and my ego was beginning to take a beating. I was building a reputation for helping people get well when Western medicine was falling short. I don't feel like I was doing anything special, but I was tapping into places that conventional medicine does not. I was teaching people how to take away what the body doesn't need and give it what it does so it can heal on its own. Whether what we were taking away, bad food choices, or destructive emotions, we had success. Getting clients to see the value of taking minerals, homeopathics, and herbal remedies were really getting results. When we incorporated the importance of making lifestyle changes and simply adding water to the diet, people were doing well. Now, hold on. I didn't just offer water alternatives, but sometimes water was all that was needed to make a shift. If you insist on an example, lack of water can create dehydration. Dehydration can lead to headaches. Dehydration can also cause systemic water retention, causing blood pressure. Back to Betty. Her case really got under my skin. Then, as clear as a whistle, I heard my spirit say, "What are her beliefs about her period?" I thought it was a silly question, but since I was using the mind-body-spirit language, asking was a wise move. So I asked, "Betty, what are your beliefs about your period?" She replied, "I was taught that it was a curse from the Bible, punishment from Eve eating fruit from the forbidden tree." Yes, she actually said it with a straight face. My response was, well, they may have been a story told in vacation Bible school as a child, but how true is that really? We talked about the logic of her holding on to that belief system and how that could be the reason why she was having so many problems with her period. I went on to explain to her that a period was an indication that she was fertile and able to conceive a child. Each time she saw the blood, that was her body's way of shedding its lining to prepare for another opportunity for conception. Birth and creation were God's design, and it was He that created us to be fruitful and multiply. She looked at me sheepishly and said, "Oh, I didn't see it that way. But since you brought it to my attention, I can see how having an issue of blood every month could create a mental challenge, creating a physical problem." As long as she saw her periods as a curse, she had problems. When she saw the majesty of the process, her periods improved. As shocked as I was to hear her candid response, I finally saw firsthand outside of my own life how a skewed perception could create disease and pain in the physical body. So I began to ask other clients about their belief systems. And after some thought, I got it. A giant floodlight came on in my brain, and I understood what was missing. The light showed me the missing piece to why the majority of my clients got well, but didn't stay well. Many came back complaining about things we thought we had fixed via diet, mineral supplementation, detoxification, and lifestyle changes, like moving chemicals from their homes, using cleaner hygienic products, etc. I'm oversimplifying the process, obviously. If you'd like a consult to discuss your plan of wellness, feel free to book a free consult at drstephanieyhp.com/book online. One challenge was because after clients started getting better, they would not return for follow-up visits. They told me that they felt so much better, they thought that they were out of the woods and didn't need me anymore. The other part of the equation is, after they stopped coming, old belief systems that were not concretely replaced came with new ideas, took up residence in their old space of the client's mind. They slipped back to their old way of thinking, and the body followed. There is a point of clarity needed here. All naturopathic practitioners intend to teach clients how to take care of themselves. The general premise is the body can take care of itself if you give it what it needs and take away what it doesn't. It is not wise for any person to only seek help from a practitioner and not learn how to take care of their own body. You can only do that successfully when you understand the three parts of who you are: spirit, mind, and body. Never give over complete power to anyone and expect them to fix your life. Only God can do that. However, He offers blessings, insight, and help from other people. So even though you may think your doctor or health care provider is an angel, make sure they are God sent, meaning they will support you in your healing process, not make you dependent on them. Learn new knowledge and depend on your Heavenly Father. Visualization, meditation, and smashing old beliefs. You've been given two profound examples of how perception and thoughts can create reality. I'd like for you to pick out a time your perception was off. Explore in your journal the thoughts that came up. Now that you have them in your mind, close your eyes. Imagine a bright light like the Jedi sword in the movie Star Wars. Take the sword and destroy every perception and thought that was wrong and held you hostage from the truth. If the thoughts are resistant, hit them again until you can visualize them destroyed. In its place, imagine a new, happier thought. The new thought will support the alternative reality you like to embrace. Remember, you can create your reality with thought, word, and deed. Thought, if it's good, keep it. If not, destroy it. Words, if they are empowering, repeat them, then create quotes and affirmations. If the words bring pain, strike them from your vocabulary and stop hanging out with people that use the language. And stop watching shows that perpetuate the ideas associated with those words. Greed, adultery, theft, abuse, you know where I'm going with this. Your magical mind. What's going on in people's lives is what's going on in people's lives because of what's going on in people's minds. What is happening is what we think is happening, and what is going to happen is what we think is going to happen. That's Neil Donald Walsh. It doesn't take much effort to realize that what you focus on creates momentum. That momentum produces great results. Regarding disease and pain, those results are not what you are aiming for, yet that's what you get. The mind is a wonderful magical organ that is very complicated. But if you were to break down the mind into its three parts, you'd see that you have a conscious mind, a subconscious mind, and a superconscious mind. The conscious mind embodies the thoughts we know we have, based on active thinking or thoughts we notice, creating mental traffic jams, making it impossible to focus. Consciously, you are reading these words, but are you also aware of the other sounds around you? As you read, you are also conscious of your thoughts that come up as you're asked to reflect, journal, or complete an exercise. The subconscious thoughts are those that have a loud voice in the background of your consciousness, just under the surface. It is comprised of those hidden thoughts that govern our automatic behavior. For instance, if you were ever bitten by a dog, subconsciously the incident created a story. Based on that story, every time you see a dog, your heart may race, or you may flat out run in the opposite direction, even though you know that the dog is not huge, not even a mastiff, but a cute little puppy. And so why do you fear that? The superconscious mind is concerned with thoughts that you are not aware of. They originate from the spirit self. Now that you have a basic understanding of the power of the mind, it's time to become more acquainted with your mind so that you can take advantage of that power. Now, a basic understanding of the 3 R's approach to healing. The 3 R's approach to healing works because it weaves together the power of 3. The 3 tools of creation: thought, word, and deed. This concept was introduced earlier in the chapter, but further explanation can't hurt. Seeing how something works will reinforce the original introduction into the subconscious. Clarity about how the 3 tools of creation work in your life are the strongest tool you have to turn your life around. You have to see it as a big deal and harness your power to create the health you deserve. Your healing is as close as your own thoughts, the words you speak out of your mouth, and the actions you take to move from panic to empowerment using the 3 R's approach to healing. So let's connect the pieces. Reflect. It works with your spirit. Feelings are your first thought, pure thought, and feelings are the language of the soul. Reframe your mind. Words are a second thought. It attempts to conceptualize feelings. Words are the language of the mind. Renew, which is your body. Actions are third thought and afterthought. Make physical what we conceptualize. Actions are the language of the body. Mental health is equally as important as physical health. You can't have one without the other, and one cannot hope to be truly well without addressing spirit, mind, and body issues. So check in. As a naturopath, I have to interject here that mental health also has everything to do with diet, mineral consumption, and lifestyle. These concepts will be explained more thoroughly in subsequent chapters, but I thought to put the idea here was a good place to plant the seed for thought. Journal time. Do you feel mentally well? Are you mentally well? Check off anything that resonates with you. Investigate mental health resources if you need them. Use this brief checklist to check in. For a more extensive look at mental symptoms, please refer to the companion workbook. Mental symptoms: difficulty concentrating, poor memory, a short attention span, poor listening ability, poor concentration, difficulty in learning, changes in an individual's analytical and processing capacity, dullness of the mind, lack of creativity, difficult in sitting quietly, inability to confront difficult situations, sexual dysfunction, and hyperactivity. Much attention has been given to the lessons related to the mind. That is the part of us that creates the most challenges for finding peace, experiencing love, sharing the joy, and giving compassion. Your mind is what talks you out of your grand ideas of happiness when your heart is crying to be heard. I challenge you to Google a few quotes that will help you see what making the shift to deliberately putting your thoughts in their place can be, the mountaintop experience by the end of this book. Here's one of mine. My mind is the breeding ground of my success. Dr. Stephanie Reed. It takes a lot of energy to reframe our experiences to be able to move away from the panic zone into the empowerment zone. Yet look, you made it. You are here. At this point in time, I know you're feeling free, open, and alive, right? If you have not progressed, go back and make sure you have done the journaling exercises. The transformation lies in your willingness to do the work. It's now time to renew. And now, a brief break.